up depending on what people were in the groups. So you can kind of go through those recordings and kind of fast forward through some stuff and see what's there. You can't fool with Classroom until our class rosters are set. Once the class rosters are set, I will have open office hours where people will be able to come. And then I'll have open up my appointment schedule so that if you need to sit with me and go through it, we can. No big deal. I'm here for you guys for sure. I'm waiting on them to tell me what the plan is for Monday and Tuesday to see if I'm going to have open office hours or if I'm going to have appointments scheduled for people to go through. I do have this sandbox where I can sit there and we can work up scenarios if you have some stuff in your head as far as that goes. But pretty much breaking it up, what I did yesterday in an hour and 15 minutes, breaking it up into an hour today with this assignments portion, and then focusing on assessments in level 2 will help as far as that goes. And then I can definitely, if your whole team is struggling with it, we can do a whole team overview or how you want to go about navigating those. And then let's see. Let me see who's on here so I can see what types of stuff we got. Tammy, Jen, Sean. Okay. Yes. And Sean, what are you teaching? Perfect. Yes, I met you this morning. Huh. Okay, so, studio art. This would be an interesting one. So for Jen and Carl, you guys are just going to be facilitating with what's in there. So you just need to be familiar with how.
Maybe you could show them how to put like a meter pad into it, maybe.
I could, but it's just going to be a link. I can do that. I can do anything you want.
And I guess since they're doing studio art too, like maybe this is.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do like I did last session. Tammy, I used the biology example because Chase and Dana were in that one. So you might want to check out that recording when I do that. Fine art survey. Plenty of stuff for fine art survey. In the last session, I did one on Hamlet, and who knew that I knew anything about Hamlet because I don't. Other than what I get on YouTube. Yes, perfect. Okay. And you said that to me, Jen, like an hour ago, and I totally forgot already. Okay, so I'm just going to dive in. It's a small group, so if you need me to be like, whoa, wait, or show you something again, you can either type in the chat if you feel more comfortable, or you can unmute. There's not a whole lot of you on here, so I can actually help you guys go through that. I'm going to share my screen. And unlike Carrie Commodell for the lower school, who had a very like strategically planned thing, mine's not strategically planned. So there's that. You, John, you do have an OnCourse login. So I sent out an email that talks about OnCourse SSO or single sign-on with links in there. If you click on that, you use your Gmail account to get in. But if you have trouble, just email me and I can figure it out. Okay, so this is a fake classroom because obviously mine looks way more intense than this. But what you're going to be primarily fooling with, okay, perfect. I'll send you the links. It's no big deal. Those of you who are new, we're going to go through the student information system lesson plans and gradebook on Friday. Those of you who want an overview or a recap of those, you can come join the session on Friday. I haven't yet made the Google Meet link, but I will. But primarily we're going to be focusing between classroom and the gradebook tabs in here. And once again, you're not going to be able to fool around with classroom a whole lot until you get your class rosters, which hopefully will be hopefully soon. High school will probably be available for the others because they're going to place them in homerooms based on what the testing happens on the 5th and 6th. So once you go into classroom, I started yesterday with classes and groups. So you'll see your classes here. I've made some groups here. You would use groupings for like students who get modified assessments in case you want to send them a separate assessment or assignment. Some Sometimes you may have different groups based on performance, or maybe if you were teaching a course and you had some regular students and some honor students, you could separate them that way. I don't even know if we have anything set up like that. So in here, you would just create a new group. And I would go into my math class, and I want to take them, and I'm going to call them the blue group. And I'm just going to start picking students that belong in there, and they populate. And why won't this box go away? Okay. And then I'm going to create the group. Okay. So my blue group is there on our math group. Here they are. I can click on my other small groups and see, or I can click on my whole group and everybody will be there. Okay. Let's do this first. I'm going to go into the shared resources tab. The resources, if you think of it, is similar to how you would have resources like your syllabus, or if you had units, how you would organize the content that's going to be available to your students. So in this particular math class, what I want to explain to you, because I did this to myself last period, last session, was you have to create the folder, because if you put the resources in, it doesn't let you move them to a different folder. I am going to ask them about this situation, but okay, so I'm going to add a folder. So this is my math. So I'm going to add, click on my primary folder, and then I'm going to add a subfolder. So this is going to be, let's say I do unit 1. Okay, so in my unit 1, I want to click here, and I'm going to add resources to the selected folder. So it's going to ask me what resources that I want. Let's say I have, let's say I'm going to use this. How to use Khan Academy. Hello. Let's just copy the link address. Okay. I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to have web link. You can add anything from your computer. You can add links. And add the link in here. You can add stuff from your computer. We don't really use OnCourse documents. From your Google Drive, if you have a OneDrive, Dropbox, whatever, and we click Add Resources. Okay, so then I can see in here, my mathematics is here. Say this is my syllabus, this is my grading policy, and this is a list of links that are for the entire year, but then I have my Unit 1 stuff listed under Unit 1. You could keep going Unit 2. You could break it up into stuff that you had going on for whatever reason. Okay. I'll show you what that looks like on the student end as soon as I do this messaging thing. All right, so in here, I have my classes. So I want to message my math students and let them know that they need to bring their calculators to class. Okay, so I have my class selected up here. You can send it to everyone, to the blue group, or individual students. We're going to send this to everyone. And we're going to say, bring your calculator to class tomorrow. Okay. You can schedule it to come at a certain time. You can also include any up links or anything. Say it was you want them to bring a field trip permission form or whatever. You could attach the form directly here and click post. So then it's going to show here. I send it to everybody. Bring your calculator to class tomorrow. So now I'm going to go into one of my students, and you guys can view the student view from your grade book. So you're going to go to grade book. You have your grade book where you take attendance, and then you have something called OnCourse Connect. OnCourse Connect is going to let you view this as a student. So we're going to go in, and I'm going to be Mr. Dunn today. So now I'm logging in as the kid. Ignore this toggle box because it's for the fake account. Okay. So in my math class, notice these red things mean that there are messages that I need to read. This is my overview of all my classrooms. Oh, on the right-hand side, it'll show me overdue things that I need to take care of, things that are due today, and things that are due tomorrow. And then if you go down to the bottom, they have long-term assignments. So I'm going to go and click on my math class. As a student, when I'm in my math classroom, there will be my assignments here. There will be the class resources here and the messages on the side. So remember, we added those class resources. These were the whole year specific resources that the students may need to access. And then I click on Unit 1 and it'll have it down here. If you had Unit 2, all the things that you would add throughout the year. And then I'm going to click on, notice there's a red box here. I'm going to click on my red box and it says that Chrissy Amamy said to bring your calculator to class tomorrow. And I, Mr. Dunn, do not have a calculator. So I'm going to say I do not have a calculator. Because this was sent to everyone, this response still gets sent to everyone. I, Mr. Dunn, can now see that the red message box has come down here. So you can see the red message box. I want to go back because now I'm panicking about not having a calculator, and I'm going to message my friend Violet to see if she'll loan me a calculator. Then it refreshes. Notice it says it has my message here and then the one that I got from the teacher. So if I go back on to the teacher page, classroom, I'm in messages. I'm going to go back to my math. So I have here all the messages. So I can filter between my posts, my scheduled posts, calendar invites, or all. So I want to see my post to make sure that mine went out about calculators. So this is my post about calculators. And Mr. Dunn telling me that he doesn't have a calculator. On the left-hand side, these little red boxes show you have notifications as well as notifications at the top. So if I click on the notifications, I can see any of them that haven't been read here. Notice here's Mr. Dunn's I don't have a calculator. When you click this, it's supposed to bring you to the classroom. I don't know why this is not working in this fake site. So now I want to go back and look at all the posts. Notice John Dunn sent one to his friend Violet, asking her if she had a calculator. So I, as the teacher, can see even the stuff that they send each other in messaging. So that'll be helpful for you once they figure out that you can see everything that they send each other. So that's pretty much it on messaging. Calendars I'm not going to go over too much because anytime you create an assignment or an assessment, it shows up in the calendar, as you can see down here. I'm going to focus primarily in the assignment section. I have the ability to toggle back and forth between all my classes, all the marking periods, which maybe you only want to focus on marking period 1. I'm going to leave it as all for right now. I can view all assignments. Notice this one had disappeared, and active. So this one is no longer active. And then I can click any returned. I've returned all the ones on the biology article and responses, so it's no longer active. So I have the ones here. Starting next summer, once you have some stuff in your classes, you'll be able to add an assignment from an archived class. We don't have any archived classes yet, so you can't do that. So I'm going to click on New Assignment. On the left-hand side is the settings box. Go away. And we're going to call this new assignment, am I in math? Algebra review number 1. So I want this to go to everyone. You could also, if this was a modified assignment, just type it into your blue group. You can use this drop-down box to assign stuff to specific students. Maybe you have a student who's homebound and you need to send them specific things that they need to do at home. You have the due date section here. I generally leave it at 11:59 on whatever day I do. But if you have it due by 3:30 or whatever your policy is, you could change the time as far as that goes. You have other options when it comes to due date options. You can mark submissions late. That's usually what I choose. Basically, it lets the student submit it late. You can view it, you can grade it, but it will mark it as late, and it'll allow you to mark it as late in the grade book so that the parents can see in OnCourse Connect and the students can see in OnCourse Connect that it was in fact turned in late. It allows me as the teacher to track trends on students who are habitually turning things in late. I probably wouldn't ever use the don't mark submissions late. That would be, you wouldn't be able to tell in the OnCourse assignment grader whether or not the students are turning it in late, even if they do. So I don't generally use that one. No submission required. So this could be where you're posting a video that you want the students to watch, but they have nothing to submit. Or maybe you want the students to watch a video, but then they're writing a journal entry in their physical notebook. So there's nothing they have to actually turn in on here. So if you remember when we used Google Classroom and you made an assignment so it showed on the calendar, the students had to go and then click mark as done or turn it in. And it would cause all kind of confusion because the parents were like, the kid did it, but you know, whatever. So no submission required means it would just be kind of like a resource, but it has a due date. So you want them to watch or read chapters 5 through 8 before they come to class. So it's allowing you to create an assignment that doesn't have anything that has to be submitted in here. Then the next one is reject late submissions. So this, I wouldn't use this very often because we have so many students who have extended time as an accommodation. But if I remember correctly, back into fourth quarter when we were given those culminating projects that they had a specific due date due to being the end of the quarter, you could do that. And what basically happens is the kid will do all the work. I'm coming back to that, Jen.
She means like all hundreds.
Yes, you can. You also have the option, Jen, to do check or X. Either they did it or they didn't. Rejecting late submissions means the kid's going to be able to access the assignment, do all the work, but when he goes to submit it or turn it in, it's going to say they're no longer taking submissions for this assignment, and you'll never get to see the work. So that's not one that I would typically use unless administration asked me to use that feature. Okay. No due date. This could be something that you have ongoing, like bell work or a journal that the kids are keeping in maybe a Google Sheet journal that they have. If you haven't been to the, not Google Sheets, Google Slides, if you haven't been in the Google Slides one, you need to check that out because they're going to go through what's called push slides, and you can push specific journal prompts on them and have them keep like an electronic notebook you can keep looking at all throughout the semester or the whole year if you wanted. So I just keep mine as marked submissions late. You can schedule it ahead of time. This is the same feature that they had in Google Classroom. This particular feature, these next two things are only for assessments. So we're going to focus on that in level 2. So if you wanted the students to be able to see or view a returned assessment, meaning see what they did wrong, see which ones they missed, you could allow that to be checked. Just know that they can see what the correct answer is. So if you're going to be utilizing it as a way to reteach, then I would allow them to view it. If you aren't and you're going to retest them or whatever, then I would not allow them to view. So I'm just going to skip down here to scoring. I'm going to leave it as high or 100. Jen, here's what I was saying. You could use the check mark to score. Just be careful if you use a check mark to score. A check mark is 100 and an X is a 0. So for us here at Discovery Schools, the lowest grade that you can give for an unattempted assignment is a 49. And the lowest grade for an attempted assignment is a 55. So if you use check marks to score, it needs to be a non-calculated assignment. It's something you're tracking, maybe a homework assignment or some practice problems, but they aren't necessarily going to be graded. You could use check or non-check. Okay, so I'm going to make this a formative, and I want it to be calculated, so I'm going to leave that alone. And I didn't mean to do that. I want it to be included in the due date in the name. All right, there are 2 arrows here that allow you to close this drawer or collapse the panel. I call it a drawer. Drawer's closed. Okay. So this is my instructions. It's just like the box that you had in Google Classroom. And this would be where your instructions are for the assignment that you have. So I am going to say, watch the tutorial video. And then I'm going to say, complete the practice problems. Okay. So they don't have, really starting to stress me out that they don't have numbering. Wait, I just saw it. Give me numbers, man. Make my own bullets. Okay, so this is in the instructions. We're not going to fool with the assessment. The assessment's on level 2. So we're basically fooling with an assignment that you're going to do. You're going to have a tutorial video and complete practice problems. So for Jen and Carl, this may be watch the PE video, and then if you want them to respond or just watch the video, maybe that would be what it is. So all your instructions need to be up here, and they need to be pretty explicit. This is how you're going to attach the things down here. You're going to ignore all of these stupid video boxes that are down here that are literally how-to videos that take up space. Okay. You can upload stuff from your computer. You can we don't really use the OnCourse documents, but maybe you have some. Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, and then a web link. So I'm going to grab my tutorial video from, let's go to YouTube. What kind of math am I going to do today? Oops. Okay, so I'm looking through these. This guy, Math with Mr. J, he looks pretty cool, so let's use his video. You always want to watch the videos before you use them, but for all intents and purposes for this, with an ad, of course. All right, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to my classroom, and I'm going to use it as a web link. So I'm going to put in here, and I'm going to say area of a triangle tutorial video. And I'm going to add the link. And it shows up down here. Now I have practice problems. Let's find some. Give me a PDF. This can be a PDF. It could be a Word document that you exported from your whatever. This one looks great. No, it doesn't. Why can't people find good worksheets, man? This is great. Free worksheet. Fantastic. Download this to my computer. Okay, go back to Classroom. Go back to Classroom. And now this is on my computer because I've downloaded my little worksheet thing. And I'm going to go to my triangles worksheet. Okay. Notice here it gives me two options. I want the students to be able to work the problems on the worksheet. And I want to be able to see their work. So I'm going to leave the Kami workflow. If I was uploading something I just wanted them to read, I would put it as a resource only. So I want the Kami workflow here. So that's what I have. I have they're going to watch this video and then they're going to complete the worksheet. So I'm going to go up top. You have options to save assignment or save and publish. I always save and publish. Save assignment would be if you're still creating it, your planning period's over and you have to come back to it. But if you've scheduled it already, you can save and publish and it won't publish it onto the students until the scheduled time anyway. Okay, so here I have algebra. Of course, I did algebra review 1, but it's here. Notice there are 20 students who have not submitted. So now I'm going to go in as my student. Again, you go to Gradebook and OnCourse Connect, and we're Mr. Done for the day. Get rid of all this stuff. Okay, and then I can see, come on. Okay, I can see here, this is so stuck. Don't forget it. So I can see here that I have this assessment that's overdue. I have these things that are due today, and one of them is this algebra review. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this algebra review. And my instructions are to watch the tutorial video and to complete the practice problems. So I'm going to click on my video. It brings me to YouTube. It's already in the education column, so we don't need to worry about it. After the ad, the kids can watch the tutorial on triangles and they'll be able to do it. Then I'm going to have here, notice it says click to start. So now here is my triangles. This is my practice problem. So I'm going to open it. It opens in Kami. This allows the students to type and or write on top of the worksheet. So what they have here is the worksheet, and they're finding the area of the triangle. So they would be, of course, this worksheet doesn't really give freaking space to write out the problems. Anyway, so they could show their work here. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 times base times height. So then they could type in their answers or they could mark it up. And we're going to use a better color than that. So we'd have, not highlighter, I want to write. So we have 1/2 times the base times the height, okay? They could also type in a box that says 1/2 times base times height, okay? If that was what the questions were, and then they could put their answers in here, and I'm not working these out, and I can't do it in my head, so I'm just going to write random numbers, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click here, and it's going to just let me type in my answers, da-da-da-da-da, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, da-da-da-da-da-da. Of course, the answers are here. Don't put the answers at the bottom of the page. I've done it before. Okay, so I'm going to hit close. And notice it has here that I started it at this particular time, which is an hour off because it's a fake group. So I'm ready. I'm done all my stuff. I'm going to turn it in. It says successfully submitted for 5 seconds, not even. And then I can go to my turn in history and I can see that I turned it in. This is the worksheet I turned in, and this is when I turned it in. So I'm going to go back to the teacher side and go back to my classroom. And notice you see there's one submission on time from Mr. Dunn. It's yellow because it has to be graded. So on the teacher side, I'm going to click on the clickable link that says one submission. Over here, if there were multiple things that were submitted, I could see multiple times that they were submitted, but he only submitted it once. And I can see all the students' markups. So from here, I can add text boxes. I can highlight. I can use text-to-speech. I can, here, that's all the things right there. I can make an equation builder if I wanted to. So I'm going to go through here, and maybe I'm going to add comments. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to add a comment. I'm going to add a comment. Let's try another one. There you go. Okay, I don't know what happened there. All right, so I'm going to add a comment for this one and say, this is incorrect. Can't spell. You forgot to divide by 2. Something like that. So then you just click out of there, and then the student, when they get theirs, they can go back and they can look at it, and they can write replies. You can also leave voice comments and video comments if you wanted to. So you could leave a voice comment. I want to go back up here. Let's go to this one because clearly it doesn't like that. And I can say, oh, you really missed all of these because you did not divide everything by or multiply by 1/2 or divide by 2. And you would leave this. You have up until 5 minutes to give any kind of a feedback on here. So I'm going to click stop. And then you can play it back. And I'm not going to listen to myself even more than I have to. And then at the top, I'm going to give this student a 55. And everything is in real time. So I'm going to X out. Because it's here as graded, it's been returned to him. I've got my one submission of 55, and I'm going to make a comment that says, please redo. Save the comment. Okay. Go back to Mr. Dunn. I am Mr. Dunn. I'm going to go back in my math class. I can see my algebra review number 1 here, and I'm going to click on it. It's grayed out. I can see that I turned it in, and I can see what I submitted. If I go to my grades, I don't think it's linking with the right grades, but let's see what happens. Yes, I can put 55F. I click on this, then I can see it is not there. This is fun. Okay, go back to my math, click on my grade, and it's not, oh, I know why. Catch that in a minute. Okay. Go back here. Nope. Here to the kid. Go back into his classroom. Go back to my Algebra 1 review. I am going to click on my triangles. I'm wondering why I can't see the annotations. I think because I am John and I am myself. The students would be able to see and hear any of the responses that you gave them because there'd be two different, because I'm in as both of these people. It's showing up as me being both. Okay, so why the kid couldn't see his grade? If you go back to classroom and grade book, let me go to my math class, go to Mr. Dunn here. He got a 55. Notice at the top, this one is green. It says published, and this one is not published. So once you click published, it means the students can see it in OnCourse Connect. So now if I go back and go back to my dashboard and go down to my 55F, crikey, it's supposed to show up. Let's pretend it does and move on. Okay. So I'm going to go back to classroom and I have this submission here, but I have these other students here who didn't do them. So I'm ready to return these grades to them. If you right click in the box, it lets you color code just like you do in your grade book. So I want to say that this kid is missing. Oh, Mother of Mary. And just so you know, technology doesn't always work, in case you were wondering. Okay, so something is seriously glitchy with this thing right now. Okay, this is the feature you were looking for, Jen. So if you had an assignment that you wanted to do, technology really doesn't want me to, I have no idea why I returned all these students, but let's go to active and hope that I'm not screwing up Carrie right now. All right, so say this was your particular assignment. You go to the quick fill box and you can fill in 100 all the way down, just like you do in your grade book. Okay, and then it automatically returns to the kids. It does show them the color. Let me go back in the grade book. Sure. So for you, let me find one that I played with earlier. You guys will be able to see. So the yellows are late, the reds are missing. When you go to the kids, you'll be able to see, let me log in as Mr. Dunn should still say missing. Let's see what happens here. Normally, if this was a real world thing, when you had the assignment that showed up, underneath it would have an asterisk and say missing or late. If you code it here by the colors for these codes, missing, late, incomplete, it'll put those words missing, late, or incomplete underneath. It'll write it under there. It doesn't color code on their end because I think it assumes that they're printing from a black and white printer. Okay, moving on. Let's show you an assignment with a Google workflow. So let's say, let me go to my science class. So in this particular one, we are going to create an assignment. And this is going to be, what am I going to do here? We're going to do this a scientific article. Can't go. All right, we're going to do scientific article number 4. Let's say that's what it is. Going to everyone on this particular one. Hold on, Sharon's texting me. I'm going to leave everything the same pretty much as we did last time. Make sure you choose your category. It's going to be formative. And then I'm going to go over and shut my drawer and go to my instructions. And I'm going to say, read the article and answer the questions in the Google Doc. Okay. So for my attachments here, I'm going to attach them the article, which is a downloaded article that I have. Let's pretend this is it. So this is going to be there, and I just want it as a resource. So it's a PDF that they're going to read. That's a news article or a scientific article. And then I want to have a Google Doc that has the questions in it. So I'm just going to go open a new tab and I'm going to create a new Google Doc. I prefer to make templates for the kids rather than having them create their own Google Docs and attaching it, because we have seen that that doesn't show that it's been done correctly. All right, so this is going to be my scientific article number 4. You can do the same thing if you had a Google slide deck. Okay, so I'm going to do name of article. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. And then I'm going to say questions. And then you're going to type out your questions, which I'm just going to, these are my questions. Can't spell anyway. Okay, I'm done. I've got my template here that I'm going to upload. So I just close out of that, go back to my classroom, click on my Google Drive. I'm going to search for it. I know that the title is scientific, which I probably have 1,000,001 things in my drive that's called scientific, but let's see what happens. All right, so my most recent one is going to be here, scientific article. So I'm going to click on it and select. Notice when I made mine, I didn't have to adjust any of the sharing settings or anything. OnCourse automatically does it for you. So if you're creating something that you're going to share, it's automatically going to give the students the rights that they need. So it's going to tell you some of your documents will not be available for viewing without requesting permission from you. You have two options. You can either allow recipients to view access or require recipients to request access. I teach 156 kids. I'm not going to ask for 156 emails. So I'm going to allow the recipients to view. Okay. Notice it has Google Drive workflow. If this was something I just wanted them to see, I would click resource only. The resource only is going to make a PDF of whatever you're sending them. Okay. Once again, ignore all this stuff down here. I have my article I want them to read, and then my questions I want them to answer. So I'm going to click Save and Publish. I'm going to go in as my student, go to my classroom, click on my science class, scientific article number 4. I'm going to click it. I'm going to download this and read my article. Okay. And then it says click to open. So I'm going to click to open this. It's automatically going to link to my drive. And I'm going to type in the name of the article, and we're going to call this SARS-CoV. And then I'm going to answer my questions. I'm going to type my answers here. I'm going to type my answers. And my answers. Okay, I'm done. So I just get, I am done. John done. Got it?
We've been doing this for a while.
It's been a long morning. Oh, sorry. All right, so I'm finished. Notice it says I started it at this particular time. And then, sorry, those of you who don't know me, I'm sorry. I probably look ridiculous. They can add a message to the teacher if you wanted to here. You just click turn in. Notice it says successfully submitted. It reloads the page for the student, and it says when it's been turned in. And at the bottom, they have turn in history. Okay. So I go and I talk to my friend Violet, and I'm like, hey, da 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 da. And she's like, oh, you definitely answered number 3 wrong. So I hurry and go back to my OnCourse Connect. I go back and click on my article. I go back to my number 3, realize she's right, and I answered it wrong. So I highlight and delete, and then I fix the answer. Okay. Then I get out, still within the same window. I'm not late, and I click turn in it again. What this is going to give you is 2 PDF snapshots of the assignment. So this could be used if you were doing a draft and wanted the kids to, and you can do just like you do in any other, you can make comments on them, you can make suggestions, and then the students could resubmit after they, went through all the edits that you had. So from here, it gives me the option to turn it again, but I'm done. I've figured out all that I needed to do. So I'm going to go back here as a teacher, and I'm going to refresh my page. And I'm going to go down to Mr. Dunn, and I have 2 submissions. So I'm going to click on them, and it opens in the assignment grader. So if you remember before when I toggled down here you can see 2. It's automatically going to default to the most recent submission. Okay, and notice here it says SARS-CoV. I can see the answers and it says fixed answer. What it's supposed to do, and I don't know why it's not in here, is if I go back to the one before I changed it, it would have the original answer. It's a glitch in this system, but it's supposed to work that way. I'm going to check on that when I get out of this session. Okay. So say you wanted to see if he shared it with somebody who went and corrected his work for him. So if you, not Siri. All right, so if you click on open Google Drive, it'll actually open the article in Google Drive. So some issues we were having when we were using Google Classroom is the student's the owner. When they turn it in, the teacher's the owner. When the teacher makes comments before they return it, the kids can't see it. So at this point, the teacher could go in and make any comments she wanted to, and the student would get the email comments right away because the student owns the document, but it is shared with the teacher in a way to which they're kind of like co-owners. Okay. Up here, you can see the editing. This is the version history. If you click on this, you can see that the green was where, pretend that's not me, where Mr. Dunn had typed his responses. If I go over here to this arrow, I can spread it out even further. Notice you can see he scratched through this and fixed the answer, but there's no other students that are on this document, so he didn't share it with somebody else as far as that goes. So you can click out of that and it brings you back to where you are. You can, from here, make comments that show up in the grade book that also show up in OnCourse Connect, and you can put the grade in. So we're going to give this kid a 90 on this. It was done on normal time. I'm going to X out. As soon as I put that grade in, it automatically returns it to the student. What I have to make sure then is that I activate that grade book. So for my scientific article 4, it's not activated, so I want to click it and I want to publish the grades for the assignment, and it's here. Say I forgot to make a comment on the other side, I can also make comments here, and you can see. Okay, so I went over the Kami workflow and the Google workflow, adding resources. What questions you got?
Do they save to their drive? No, it saves.
Yes.
The students' assignments, when they complete them, they save to their drive?
To their drive.
To their drive, not to ours.
Yes, we don't have, like in Google Classroom where that all that crap was in our Google Drive, that doesn't happen. It stays in their Google Drive, but you still have access to it as long as you have this assignment activated. And it does, yes, for reals. And it shows up. Let me see if I can access my Google Drive. Don't judge me. My Google Drive is a hot mess. I think it makes a folder called OnCourse Classroom or yes. So see how it makes this folder called OnCourse Classroom, and then I click on it. These are my classes that it's created. And within each one, I can see I'm getting the assignments because I'm also logging in as the kid. So this is what the kids would see on their end. They would be able to toggle through all their classrooms and view all of their assignments. Okay. Any other questions? Anyone want to comment on how they think they could use it or how it's not going to work for them or what I can do to help you? Okay, I'm going to show you one that I created in the last class, my Hamlet. I was actually pretty proud of my Hamlet. Okay. I can show you lesson plans on Friday when we do it for new teachers. And I'll show you how that works with this system. Perfect. You can irritate me anytime, Jennifer, anytime. I'm going to have open office hours once this goes live. I'm going to have to. And we're going to have probably, I'll be pushing into your grade levels or your departments or whatever. This particular assignment was one that I created. Who hasn't done it yet? Oh, Mr. Dunn. Oh. So this is one that I did where I uploaded a video. So let me show you what that was. And it was a video and a Flipgrid. So it was in English, Hamlet. All right. So in the instructions there to watch the Hamlet video and add the reaction to Flipgrid. So I have the Hamlet video attached, opens in YouTube. After the ads, the kids watch the excerpt from Hamlet that I want them to do. And then the additional thing that I added was they're going to go and create a reaction video to what they witnessed in the Hamlet video. So once you click the Flipgrid link, it opens to the Flipgrid. So any links that you add are opening outside. So if you had a Nearpod, it was opening outside. And you're not able to track it. So here, notice it says click to view and click to view. But at the bottom, ignore that it says already been returned because I was using it in a different one. But I'm going to mark done. You may have to tell the kids if they watching a flip or doing a Flipgrid or a Nearpod that they come back and mark it as done so you can put the grade there when they're done. But you can also, you'll get it in the Nearpod interface, what the grade is, and just be able to pull it up or export it and enter it here. Or you might just want to go straight to your grade book and put it in there instead of having it be through here. So maybe you wouldn't use it as a mark as submission, or what did I say? Click submissions. Everything's all going together. Where is it? No submission required. So maybe you would use no submission required and then just enter it in the grade book separately. You're going to have to kind of think how you want your flow to be. The most important thing to wrap around is, you know, how you're going to kind of set up your units. So you can set those videos and the resources. I did ask for us to be able to create or link topics to it so we could kind of click the topic and have it organized by that. So I'm waiting on feedback from that. And then those of you who teach core classes or would want stuff to auto grade, the assessment feature is great. And even people who wouldn't even think about it, like I'm thinking fine arts survey, for that, you could upload pictures and have them respond to pictures or make it multiple choice. And you could literally upload paintings or pictures or sculptures and make that an assessment that's automatically graded and goes straight into the grade book. So there's awesome ways to do it. You could also, where you had, you could have them, you could upload a painting in the assessment and have them speak what the painting means to them or whatever. I'm thinking outside the box here. And then you would just listen to everybody's and then give grades based on, you know, your whatever rubric you were using. And I'll show you rubrics when we get to level 2. Anybody have any specific questions on, Jen, did I answer your questions as far as how you could utilize this and you feel a little better? You don't have to set up a
I mostly do, but
I know what my paycheck's gonna look like.
I mostly do. I'm a little confused about the last part of the grading, but I'll get with you on that.
Yeah.
Why you have to open your grade book and like something.
You're not supposed to. Technically, when I started this last week, they had down here when you wanted the grades to be published, but it disappeared. So I don't know if this is because it's a test site. It doesn't have all the features. So I'm going to kind of wait and see how it goes live and then figure it out from there. And then Tammy, there's no real template. You're using the resources section, however you would set up your class, what makes sense to you. And then for the kids, when they log in, they're literally going to see, let me go back. They're literally going to have everybody's templates the same. Assignments are here, class resources are here, and any messages are on the side. And everybody's is going to be the same. The assignments are going to show up here in date format of when they're due. And then of course, when the kids are on their the classroom homepage, they can see anything that's overdue, due today, due tomorrow, and then due anytime in the long term. Not necessarily. Excuse me. Let me ask you this, Tammy, if you're doing due first and due second, are you grading both as separate grades? Because if they're going to be separate grades, then you would probably have to just put number 1 and number 2. If they have to do 2 parts to get 1 grade, you could just put them all in the assignment and just label it like I did in the, that's not a good example.
The Hamlet one.
Yes. I don't know what is wrong with me right now. this one. So I had, like, this would be number 1 and number 2, but they have to do both parts to get the 1 grade. Otherwise, you would go back and do it similar to, like, in there I would do, instead of saying Hamlet, I would say number 1, 7/31, 2020, Hamlet. Number 2, so they knew that which one goes first and second. You could also send a message. Yes, I prefer the topics. So I'd like to be able to have, like, this is today and this is the topic. But I think, like, because I've just been doing pretty broad ones, we can get together and figure out a way that we can make it more organized for what y'all are planning to do. I think that's going to be the best way. Because I think everybody's got a different mindset of how they do it. What we can do, Tammy, is look at how your Google Classroom looked before and see if we can kind of replicate it here and what some shortcuts we can do until they get that fixed. Okay, any questions? Anything you want to see again? No problem. I'm pretty much done unless there's something you want to see again. Megan and I will hang out in here if you need to wrap your heads around it, but they all are recorded, and I will be getting those recordings to you guys over the weekend. They take a long time to get to us and download and upload to YouTube, but I will be posting all 3 sessions because I had different scenarios and different sessions on these. And if you really want to see what the assessments can do, come check us out tomorrow for level 2. We'll still be here. Y'all have a good day. I hope you get some work done in your rooms. Hey, Maureen, where is your room? Where are you housed? Where will you be?